Hello everyone. So in today's lecture, we will discuss about the Bayes theorem. So as we know that, yesterday in the last lecture we will study about the we were already study about the probabilistic reasoning, right? And as we know that in the for writing the probabilistic reasoning or a probabilistic statement, we need two theorem, right? One is Bayes theorem or a Bayesian brief network. So today we will discuss about the Bayesian theorem and how this Bayes theorem is used for writing those kind of statement in which some predictions are needed, right? So after learning this lecture, you will understand about the Bayes theorem. Okay, let's start. So guys, Bayes theorem is also known as Bayes rule or Bayes law or a Bayesian reasoning, which determine the probability of an event which uncertain knowledge. Like uncertain knowledge means knowledge which cannot be decide as a whether it is true or whether it is false. Like sometime it may be true or sometime it may be a false. So it depend on the situation and it okay. So these kind of knowledge is known as uncertain knowledge. So in a probability theory, it relate the conditional probability. It relate the conditional probability and marginal probability in two random events. So Bayes theorem was named after the British mathematician Thomas Bayes. The Bayesian inference is an application of Bayes theorem, which is fundamental to a Bayesian static. So it is a way to calculate the value of probability of b by a with the knowledge of probability of a by b. So guys, Bayes theorem allow updating the probability prediction of an event by observing a new information and by observing a new information to the real world. So for example, if a cancer correspond to one age, then by using a Bayesian theorem we can determine the probability of cancer more accurately with the help of age. So Bayes theorem can be derived using the product rule and conditional probability of event A with known event b. So as from the product rule, we can write that probability of a intersection b is equal to probability of a by b into probability of b. So similarly, the probability of event B with known event A can be written as a probability of A intersection B equal to probability of B by A into probability of A. So equating right hand side of both the equation, we will get this knowledge, right? Means probability of a by b equal to probability of b by a into probability of b divided by probability of b. So in this equation, a is called as Bayes rule or Bayesian theorem. So this equation is basic of most modern AI system for probabilistic inference. So it's shown the simple relationship between joint and conditional probabilities. Hence, P of A by B is known as P of A by B is known as posterior, which we need to calculate, right? Which we need to calculate, and it will be read as a probability of hypothesis A when we have occurred an event evidence B. Okay. So same like that, probability of b by a is called the likelihood in which we consider that the hypothesis is true. Then we calculate the probability of evidence, right? So probability of a is called the prior probability, and probability of hypothesis before considering the evidence. And the probability of b is called marginal probability, and the pure probability of evidence. So in the equation A, in general, we can write probability of B equal to probability of A multiply probability of B by AI. Hence the base rule can be written as probability of A of I by B equal to probability of A of I multiply probability of B by AI divided by summation of P of AI multiply P of B by AI, where I is lies between 1 to K, where A1, A2, A3 up to AN is the set of mutually exclusive and executive events, right? So let's understand how we apply the Bayesian rule by taking some examples. Okay, by taking some examples. So guys, how we apply the Bayesian rule. So Bayes rule allow us to Bayes rule allow us to compute the signal term b by a term b by a in the term of a by b, and p of b and p of a. So this is very useful in class, uh, where we have a good probability, and these three terms, and want to determine the further one, right? So suppose we want to perceive the effects of some unknown cows, and we want to compute that cows. Then the base rule becomes like P of cows divided by effect equal to P of effect by cows multiply P of cows divided by P of effect. So let's apply this Bayesian rule on some examples. So example one is a question: what is the probability that a patient has disease meningitis with the stiff neck? So data are given. A doctor is aware that the disease meningitis cows are patient to have stiff neck, and it occur 80% of the time. So he is also aware of some more facts which are given here. So the known probability that the patient has uh, meningitis. Okay, a meningitis disease is a 1 by 30,000, and the known probability that the patient has stiff neck is 2%. So let us beat the proposition that the patient has stiff neck, and b be the proposition that patient has a meningitis. Okay, so we can calculate we can calculate as following, that P of A by B equal to 0.8, and P of B equal to 1 by 30,000. Then P of A equal to 0.2. So P of B by A equal to P of A by B into P of B divided by P of A. So here P of A by B is given as a 0.8%. Multiply them. P of B value we already have 1 by 30,000. So multiply them and divide by 0.2. So we get the answer, that is 0.001333. So hence we can assume that the 1% out of 750% has a meningitis disease with a stiff neck. Let's take another example for understanding this. Okay. The question from a standard deck is playing card is a single card is drawn. So the probability that the card is king is 4 by 52. Then calculate the posterior probability, that is P, probability of king divided by face, with the means that drawn face card is a king card. Okay. So guys, for finding this solution, okay, for finding the solution, what we need to do that, firstly, we need to find probability of king by face equal to probability of face by king multiply probability of king divided by probability of face, right? So probability of king, that is probability that the card is king, is 4 by 52, that is 1 by 13, and probability of face is equals to probability that the card of face card is 3 by 13, because total how many face card are present? 8 card, right? 8 card are present. So the probability that the card is a face card equals to 8 by 52, right? So probability of face by king equal to probability of face card when we assume it is a king equal to 1, right? So putting all the value in the equation, and we get that the value, that is 1 multiply 1 by 13 divided by 3 by 13. So we will get 1 by 3 value, right? So it is the probability that the face card is a king card. So next we understand what are the application of the Bayesian rules. Okay, what are the applications of the Bayesian rule? Okay. So now following are some application of Bayesian theorem. So it is used to calculate the next step of the robot when the already execute step is given. So Bayes theorem is a helpful in weather forecasting, and it can also be monthly Hall problem. It can also solve Monty Hall problems. It can also solve the Monty Hall problem. So guys, these are some application for the Bayesian theorem. Uh, in the following these cases, we can use the Bayesian theorem in the artificial intelligence. Okay. So guys, let's understand. Uh, let's understand with the another example. Okay. So Bayesian, see guys, Bayesian networks, Bayesian theory are making actually a Bayesian brief networks, right? So it is a key computer technology for dealing with the probabilistic event, and to solve the problem which has a uncertainty. So we can define the Bayesian network as a Bayesian network is a probabilistic geographical model which represent a set of variable and their conditional probabilities using the directional acyclic graph, and it is also called a Bayes network, brief network, or decision network, or a Bayesian model. So Bayesian network are the probabilistic because these networks are built from the probability decision and also the theory of prediction and anomaly detection. So guys, this can also be solved by using the connectives. So further we will study about the connectives, all types of connectives, and all types of uh, connectives which we used which we use to represent these kinds of statements. So guys, after understanding that connectives, we will further go for understanding. We will further go for understanding uh, the some subsets of AI. Okay, and in that we will also understand about the machine learning and NLP. Okay, so before that, we will discuss about the direct acyclic graph and table coordinate probabilities. Okay, and also we understand how a travel salesman problem are actually work by using the salesman hill salesman problem. So first, let us understand uh, the connectives. Okay, is termed as a term as a inference. Okay, term as a inference. So what is inference rule? So inference rule are the templates for inference rules are the template for generating valid arguments. Okay, generating valid arguments, or you can say inference rule are uh, uh, applied to derive proofs in artificial intelligence, and the proofs is a sequence of conclusion that lead to that lead to the desired goal. So in our inference rule, the implication among all the connectives play an important role. Okay, all the connectives play an important role. So following are some terminology related to inference rule. Following are some terminology related to inference rule. First terminology is implication, second is converse, and third is contrapositive, and then inverse. So these are some terminology uh, which are actually used. Okay, so first understand what is implications. Okay, so implication is a one of the implication is one of the logical connectives which can be represented as a p implies q. So it is a boolean expression. Okay, it is a boolean expression, and it converts and what is converse, the converse of implication, which means that right hand side proposition goes to left hand side and vice versa. So it can be written as a q implies b. Okay, um, next one is a contrapositive. The negation of converse is termed as a contrapositive, and it can be represented as it can be represented as not q implies not p. Okay, not q implies not p. And next one is inverse. So negation of implication is called inverse. Inverse in the and it is represented as negation of p implies negation of q. So for this all four terminology, I am showing here the truth table for that. Okay, so here I am taking two proposition, that is P and Q, and see, for the third column I am showing an implication. In the fourth column I am showing a converse, and the third column contra sorry fifth column contrapositive, and sixth column is a inverse. So first, what is implication? Okay, so it show that p implies q. So for that, in the third column, we actually apply the implication rule, that is if and then rule. So same for that, we already understand the implication rule means it give the result false only if the if condition is true, and then condition is false. So only in the second row it give a value false, because the value of P is true, but Q value is false. So in that case, it give a only false value, and other than that, it will be true. Okay. Next one is a converse. Okay. So in converse, again, just took a value of Q first and then a value of P then. After that, value of P. So in the first case, both value are true. So obviously, value is true. Result value is true. In the second case, the value of Q is false and value of P is true. So if value of Q is true, means first if condition is false, then we didn't check the value of then condition. Okay, it whatever it is, whatever the then condition, in that case, the result will be true. So if condition is false, then obviously it will give a true value. So the second row give a true value. Now again the third row, Q value is true, but P value is false. So if condition is true, but then condition is false, so only in that condition it return the value false. So in a third row, I am writing a false value, and again both are false. Then in that case, obviously true value are resulted. So do you understand the converts? Okay. Now next is contrapositive, right? Contrapositive means contrapositive is negation of converse. So negation of converse in term as a is term as a contrapositive. So means negation of Q implies negation of P. So first we actually negate the value of Q. So in a first case, value of Q is true. So for this condition, we took false, right? So obviously first condition is false, so the second condition we are not checking, means then condition we are not checking. So obviously here I'm writing a true. Okay. Now again second condition, firstly in the second column, you know that the second row, the value of Q is written as a F. If we apply a negation operation, then definitely value become a true. So if condition is true, now we have to check about the P, as P value is written as a true. So not P, negation of P is false. So in that case, first premises mean if condition is true, but then condition is false. So in that case, obviously it give a false value. So that's why in the second column of contrapositive, it is written as a false. Now again, for the third case, Q is false. Q is true. So definitely not Q. Negation of Q is a false. So if condition is false, we are not checking the second condition. So same like that, we put here as a true. Now in the fourth column, now in the fourth row, Q value is false and P value is also false. So negation of Q is also true, negation of P is also true. If both are true, then obviously it result the value true. Okay. Now for the inverse, what happened if negation of implication is called inverse? Means not P implies not Q is called inverse. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so here I am taking a value of P and Q first. So P value is true and Q value is true. So if we negate both of them, then obviously first value for P value is false and Q value is also false. So if condition is false, we don't need to check about the then condition. We directly write the result true. Okay. Now again second condition. Okay, the value of P is again false, because the value of negation P is false, because value of P is true, right? So again, if condition is false, then we need not to check about the then condition. So I am writing a true. Okay, directly I am writing a true. Now in this third case, negation of P is true and negation of Q is false. Okay. negation of q is false. Okay, remember that I'm talking about the negation of p and negation q in the third row. Okay, so the value of p is false and value of q is true. So obviously negation of p is true and negation of q is false. So false, first value is true, but second means if condition is true but then condition is false, so in that case obviously it result the false. Now in the again next condition, if we apply negation on p and negation on q, so we will get a result true true for the fourth condition. So if both are true, obviously result will be true. So guys, if you check that the inverse and converse both are equivalent to each other, and implication and contrapositive, implication and contrapositive, these both are equivalent to each other, right? These both are equivalent to each other. So guys, actually a rule of inference, or you can say that inference rule or transformation rule, okay, in a logical forms, it forms it actually consisting a function which takes premises and analyze their syntax and return the conclusion. So for example, a rule of inference called some rule of inference are there are so many rule of inference. So let's understand how many types of rule of inference are present. Okay, so these are the rules of these are the types of rule of inference. First type is modus ponens, second type is modus tollens, third is hypothetical syllogism, and the fourth is disjunctive syllogism, and fifth is addition, sixth is simplification, and seventh is resolution. Okay, so first understand what is modus ponens. Okay, so guys, the modus ponens rule is one of the most important rule in inference. Okay, in inference, and it states that if p and p implies q is true, then we can infer that q will be true. Means if p is true, okay, the value of p is true, and p implies q is true, then we can say that q will be also true. Okay, so it can be represented as the notation you can see here. The notation of modus ponens is written like that: p implies q, and p implies q, and also p, then in that case q will be true. Okay, for example, if I am sleepy, okay, if I am sleepy, then I go to bed. So for that I am writing a implication rule that p implies q. Means for p I am writing I am sleepy, for q one statement is if I am sleepy, then I go to bed. Okay, and in which q statement 2 that I am sleepy. Okay, so what conclusion will be we found then means I go to bed. Means a one statement is given that if I am sleepy, then I will go to bed, and second statement say that I am sleepy, then obviously you will go to the bed. Okay, so hence we can say that if p implies true and q is true, then in that case q will be true. So so guys, it can be proved by creating a truth table. So guys, see, in a truth table I'm taking a two value of two proposition, that is p and q, and so for that we apply the proposition rule, right? Sorry, implication rule. So in the first condition both are false, then what happened? P implies Q. in the first condition. Sorry guys, see, in the first condition, there is a one mistake in this. For the implication rule, in the first column it should be a value 1. In the first column it should be a value 1. But guys, see, for the modest ponens, it give the result false, because in which p is not true, right? P is not true. So for the result of modest ponens, it is written here, 0. Okay, so here you cannot write p implies q. Here you have to write p implies q and p. Okay, only in that case you will have a value 0. Okay, again for the same, p implies q will give p implies q give a one, value result 1, and the value of p is 0, so obviously it will be 0. So let it be. Now in the second case, p is true and q is 0, false, right? So if we are talking about the implication rule, definitely it will give a value, it will give a value false, right? And here the value of p is true. So true and false, obviously it will give a value false. So let it be. So guys, both are true, right? If both are true, then implication after implication after implication apply, then obviously result will be true. And also see, the value of p is also true. Then you check that the conclusion, that is q, is also true, right? Means the value of p implies q, and here I am taking and as a conjunction. Okay, conjunction with p. Okay, the result of p implication q conjunct with the p. Okay, so if they give a value true, so definitely the conclusion means conclusion what given, that then in that case q will be also true. So see guys, in the truth table it shows that p implication q is obviously true, because both value are true, and the value of p is also true. If we if we conjunct the true and true, then definitely result will be true. So in that case we see that the value of q is also true. Okay, next is modest tolerance. Okay, the modest tolerance rule state that if p implies q is true and not q is true, then not p also true. Okay, so modest tolerance show that. So modest tolerance what's state that if p implies q is true and not q is true, then not p is also true. So it can be written as a p implies q, p implies q, and not q. Okay, and not q. Okay, so the conclusion will be definitely a not p. So I'm taking an example. Statement 1 say that if I am sleepy, then I go to bed. Okay, this so that p implies q. Now statement 2 that say that I am not go to bed, then obviously what conclusion will be infer that it infer that I am not sleepy, because we in a first statement we say that I am sleepy, then I go to bed. Okay, then in second statement I am not go to bed, obviously then it means it's infer that I am not sleepy. Okay, so just take a I'm proofing with that by using a truth table. So guys, firstly I have to prepare the truth table for uh, p implies q. So guys, p implies q, um, obviously both are 0, then in that case result will be 1. First condition p is false, and second condition q is a true, then obviously true. But p is true and q is false, so in that case P implies Q is 0, and again for true true it's true. So guys, see, now I am actually ending with not Q. Okay, not Q. And if the result will be true, so in that case not P is also true. Okay, so guys, in the see column number 4 and column number 5 I am ending. Okay, means I am applying a conjunction rule. So first, in the first case, both are true, right? So obviously result will be true. So see guys, result will be true, and in that case we see that the not P value is also true. Not P value is also true. Now again for the second case, not Q is false, and P implies Q is 1. So obviously after applying the conjunction rule, it give a result 0, a result false, right? So we need not to check about the not P, what is not P and all that, because statement is only says that if P implies Q and means conjunction not Q will result the true, then in that case not P is true. So guys, let it be. Now in the third case, P implies Q is value 0 and not Q is 1. So obviously result will be 0. So let it be. Again for P implies Q is 1 and not Q is 0. So let it be, because result is 0. So right, it proved that by using a modus ponens, that if P implies Q is true and not Q is true, then in that case it infer that not P is also true. Okay. Next one is hypothetical syllogism. So the hypothetical syllogism rule state that if P implies R is a true, R is true whenever P implies Q is true, and Q implies R is true, then it can be represented as the following notation. Okay, following notation. So following notation. So for example, if you have my home key, for example, if you have my home key, okay, then you can unlock my home, means it shows that P implies Q. Statement Q say that if you cannot unlock my home, then you cannot take my money. Okay, it the statement shows that Q implies R. Okay, statement 2 shows that Q implies R. So if we reach to the conclusion, then if you have my home key, then you can take my money. Okay, only in that if you don't have my key, then you cannot take my money, right? So by using a truth table, I am proving this. So guys, I am taking here 3 proposition P, Q and R. Okay, so first of all, we firstly make a truth value for P implies Q, and then Q implies R, and then uh, check that if both value only if these both value are true, then only in that case P implies R are true. So guys, see in the value of fourth and fifth column, the first row, both value are true and also the result are true, right? So second value, both in the second row both value are true, so result will be true, right? In the third, both value are not true, so let it be. In the fourth row, both value are true, so result are also true. Again for fifth row, both are not true. Sixth row, both are not true. Seventh row, both are not true. Again in eighth row, both value are true, so result will be also true. Means by using a truth table, we show that if P implies Q is true and Q implies R are true, then in that case P implies R are also true. Okay. next one is disjunction, disjunction syllogism. So in in this rule, this rule state that if p or q is true and not p is true, then q will be true. So it will be represented as p or q and not p. Okay, so I'm taking an example. Today is Sunday or Monday. So it can be written as a P or Q. Okay. Today is Sunday or Monday. And statement 2 that today is not Sunday means it is not P. So what conclusion we reach? That today is Monday. Okay. So by using a truth table, we show that firstly we calculate that the P or Q. So so in that case, we check that the value. We check that uh, we apply a conjunction rule on not P and the result of P or Q. So guys, in the first case, obviously result will be 0. So let it be. In the second case, result will be 0. Result will be true, and we see that the value of Q is also true, right? Again, for the third row, result will be 0. So let it be. And in the fourth case, result will be 0. So let it be, right? Next one is the addition. Okay, so in addition rule, the addition rule is one of the common inference rule, and it states that if p is true, then if p is true, then um, if p is true, then p or q will be true. Okay, if p is true, then p or q will be true. So we are taking an example. If I have a vanilla ice cream, that is p. Okay, and statement 2 say that I have a chocolate ice cream. Okay, so conclusion is I have vanilla or chocolate ice cream. So by using a truth table, it shows that firstly it calculates the p or q value, right? P or q value. So only in two condition it shows the result true. That if p is true, see guys, if p is true, then p or q is also true. And also see that if p is true, then the value of p or q is also true. Next one is simplification. Okay, so simplification rule state that if p and q is true, then q or p will also be true. It can be represented as in the notion of simplification rule is written like that. So for that, p and q we firstly calculate through the p and q proposition. So only one case it shows that the result, see that if both value if p and q are only true, if p or q are true. Okay. Next one is resolution. Okay, so the resolution state that if p or q and not p and r are true, then q or r will also be true. So it can be represented as. So guys, firstly you need to make a truth table for that, and only in three case it give a result to you, right? Give a result to you. So guys, so in the today's lecture we will learn about this. Okay, we will learn about all the inference rule and all the things. Okay, so here is your homework, uh, which you have to done after learning this lesson. Okay. So guys, just go through this book, Artificial Intelligence, which is written by Richard Knight, in which there are so many more examples are given. You can just prove them through by using the truth table, or there are so many sentences are written there. So just go and learn from this book. Okay.